Hi, my name's Joe. I'm a musician and piano teacher, and I've been attending the Mindfulness and Meditation course in the Letchworth Dharma Center. It's 8 weeks in now, and I'm really starting to notice the benefits of my practice. Generally, just being more mindful about things gives you a better quality of life and the tools to be able to deal with the good and the bad and the challenging more effectively, more rationally. We can so easily get caught up with bad thinking and things that we can't change, and we need tools to be able to channel how we feel into rational and decent conclusions, and through mindfulness and meditation you can develop and grow this little pause between reaction and thinking about what you're going to do. Instead of impulsively reacting to a situation, you can just have a little window so you can come to a better conclusion. So for example, if I'm taking a saucepan out of the cupboard, this happens a lot, and some saucepans fall on me, my reaction used to be to swear or to curse at the shock, and now when the saucepan falls out of the cupboard and lands on my foot, I just accept the fact that it's happened. Oh, the saucepans fell out of the cupboard, that's fine. By getting angry at it or shouting, I'm making myself suffer more. I'm giving myself arrow after arrow of suffering. Oh, that saucepan fell out, that's a good one, I'm in pain. That doesn't help anything, and that comes from developing mindfulness in day-to-day life.
So what makes you come into the mindfulness practice at the first instance?
The reason why I came here initially is because I have been meditating on and off for maybe 3 years and aware of mindfulness, but because there is so many different explanations and methods of how to meditate or how to be mindful, some of them vary quite a lot. Which one do you choose? Which one is correct? Which one is going to yield the best results? And I found myself going from this method to that method to this method, and in the end I was so overwhelmed with choice that I just didn't bother doing it anymore. So by coming to a course like this and meditating together with other people, not only do you get that sense of community and growing and developing together, but you also get a focused approach to how to do it and what the outcomes are going to yield.
You mentioned quite a few times this course, this place. Would you like to just explain a little bit more for some others who wanted to know about the place and the course?
Okay, so this is the Dharma Center on Pix Road in Letchworth. It's a Buddhist meditation retreat. Although we are taught here, the meditation course, the original teachings, but also in a non-secular way. So it's accessible to anyone. I'm not a practicing Buddhist or any particular religion, but that isn't the key factor of these courses and this study. It's for you to get a better understanding of how to deal with being more mindful and how to meditate effectively.
How do you find the difference in your life after being in 8 weeks?
So the difference after 8 weeks, there are aspects of my life and my well-being that have been challenging for many years, for a lot of my life actually, and we've all kind of got this sort of baggage, but for me sometimes it can affect my work or my mental state, or whether I'm feeling introvert or extrovert, and because of that knock-on effect, because of some of my conditionalities, coming to this course regularly, putting in a practice, like practicing the piano, which is what I teach, if you don't put the practice in and you don't have the understanding from a good teacher, you aren't going to yield the results, and in the end you're going to get frustrated and give up. There was a point initially where I wasn't practicing as much as I should, and I almost gave up coming to these courses, and then I just had that session that really connected to me. It really spoke out, maybe week 3 or 4, and I turned it around from thinking I'm not going to do this to this is really good, this is really yielding the results, and putting the practice in has made me a better person.
Has it made any motivational effect to come every day or looking forward to the next day?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to these practices here now, and it's nice to come with a friend, but I feel like I'm meeting new friends here as well. Meditation is something I've always felt as being something you've got to do on your own. It's a solitary thing, whereas really being able to share the experience with other people enhances the quality of the sessions and the results that you get.
What about your satisfaction wise? Are you happier or you are calmer? Is there any difference that you can see in your everyday activities and everyday things?
I would definitely say that I'm calmer. Again, just being able to take that little moment before reacting to just be mindful about what the stimulation is. Just having that little window, that's what the meditation and mindfulness practice has given me, that tiny window between reaction and thinking about your reaction. So that, in a sense, is calmer. But I would say I generally have a better sense of joy through, just the day-to-day things. Being mindful of being outside in the summer, you look at how lovely and green the trees are, you look at how beautiful the flowers are, you might smell the scent of the flowers, you might see the insects and think, oh, aren't they wonderful, doing this great job of pollinating our plants. Whereas if you're not mindful, you just might think, oh, it's hot. I'm in the countryside. So it's good to be mindful in all walks of life, I suppose.
How do you find the teachings and the structure of the course here to understand someone you were kind of hesitated and to coming into a group or getting into some sessions? How do you find these structure and the teachings? And would you like to say a few words about the teacher and the teachings and the structure of the course?
So the teacher, Bhante, has been imbuing great knowledge and wisdom onto me and the group. From the outset, outlining the principles of what the mindfulness teaching is, and more importantly where it comes from, the original teachings, and how it relates to modern day, is very effective, because we need relatability in something that has a depth like mindfulness and meditation. And looking at YouTube videos or various other ways of meditation and mindfulness practice, you can be overwhelmed. So to get a good 2-hour session about what it's about and why we do this is great. The structure has evolved into something more regular since the first few courses. So we might cover a sitting meditation, which is guided for up to 30 minutes so far, walking meditation for 10 minutes, and then another sitting meditation for 10 minutes. And then what varies is the theory and the dialogue that Bhante gives us afterwards about the topic of the week and how it relates to our practice. Like anything, if you don't practice regularly what's taught, you could fall behind in the lessons. So it's always worth keeping up your practice as much as possible to get the most out of this course.
Because you have explained very nicely, beautifully, how you recognize your anger. Can you just explain it, please? Rude, how you are recognizing your anger when it is arising, and you quickly recognize it is helpful for you.
Yeah, so to be able to be mindful and recognize certain emotions in ourselves is something that I and I suppose a lot of people would never even consider prior to understanding meditation and mindfulness. You might spend a whole day being angry and not really knowing why, and that can affect a lot of your decisions and how you speak to people and how you're like at work. It could be anger, it could be resentment, it could be grief, any of these negative kind of emotional states. If we don't recognise they're there, if we don't recognise, oh, I'm angry, and we don't even know that that's the emotion that we're being driven by, how do we know how to deal with how we're feeling? How do we know how to accept it or to move on from it? We can be stuck in a mental state that's affecting our lives in a negative way. And unless we're self-aware and mindful as to how we are feeling and behaving, there is no way we can address it. So the mindfulness and meditation teachings that I've learned here at the Dharma Center with Bhante and the participants has given me personally the strength to recognize different emotional states that I'm in, and as you recognize, you can let go.
So teaching helped you to discipline your anger?
It helped me to be aware of traits that I might have, like anger, and it more importantly allowed me to understand that they're impermanent and to let them go.
How welcoming the center here for anyone who are interested to come in?
Initially, when I thought I'm going to a Buddhist Dharma Center to meditate, mindfulness course, something I've never been to or never done, your mind is filled with what's it going to be like? Oh, I don't know if that's for me, I'm not a Buddhist. But upon arriving here and the lovely warm welcome that we've received and the support, it's lovely. It's a really nice place to be for 2 hours a week. You leave here like feeling very calm, peaceful, and growing in your mental strength and capacity to have a better life.
Mindfulness also is a way of life. How would you kind of understand the philosophy behind as a way of life to kind of someone like brought up in the Western culture and exposed into many things but still not being satisfied with some aspect of our life?
So in the West, unlike the East, things like mindfulness, impermanence, self-awareness are not something that we grow up with. We're more used to immediate stimulation, advertising, video games, films, adverts. These, for me personally, this amount of information that we are perpetually hit with throughout the day, every day, from the stimulation that we have, can actually lead us to feel unhappy and unsatisfied. I don't have that new phone. I don't look as beautiful as that model. We can get really caught up in, for me, things that are insignificant. And what we could do with more is to understand the value of those things, but more importantly, the value of the day-to-day life. And being mindful as a lifestyle is allowing yourself to enjoy the most simple things that have been there all along. So the soft texture of the grass and what it feels like to walk on it, the joy of eating a nice piece of food. I mean, how many people do we know that would stuff down their dinner whilst watching the telly and having conversation? Are you actually thinking about the potentially delicious food that you're eating and how wonderful it is and the different flavours and textures and how lovingly it's been cooked? Or are you just going to miss that whole experience because you're caught up in various other distractions?
Lots of young generation are kind of overwhelmed with the circumstances and quite exhausted with the life. So they don't have no interest about having a wonderful life because they are being kind of disappointed. Gratitude is big part of mindfulness practice. So how do you kind of appreciate the things around you in your life after practicing mindfulness? Before we were kind of taking things for granted and we become judgmental, we try to complain to each other. How do you see the gratitude, the part of the gratitude in the mindfulness practice?
I think that gratitude is actually one of the main keys to good sense of well-being, and it's so easily forgotten about. It's so easily overlooked. One of the things we're taught in the mindfulness and meditation practice is gratitude, and the value that that can have on your life can dramatically improve how you feel about yourself and things around you. Just to take a little bit of time to be grateful for things like, I'm grateful for the shoes that have been made by someone that are on my feet. I can walk carefully over different terrain. To be grateful of the way you're brought up by your parents. to be grateful of the fact that we live in a country that isn't war-torn and stricken with corruption, per se. We can be grateful for so many things, and once you allow your mind to access the vast plane of gratitude, you can really start to unlock some happiness and good well-being in yourself.
Happiness and also sharing. Many people in the modern environment of the technological world means thinking of themselves a lot and being very isolated and very mean and not kind of sharing. How do you find the sharing, the value of sharing we try to emphasize in the mindfulness practice? How important it is for well-being and happiness, being a kind person, looking after everything and helping each other, the compassion part in the mindfulness.
The thing is with Western culture and compassion and sharing is we are led to believe by the media and the advertisers that we need to be independent. We need our own brand new phone. We need our own designer clothes. We need to look like this. We need to eat this food. We need it to be all about us and spend our money to be all about us. Again, that thinking, that self-obsessed introvert thinking about it's all about me, how can I better myself, can lead to a lot of suffering and sadness, and actually a lot of negative personality traits can come from that. You could be body conscious because you're seeing so many models and actors and think that's the way that we should look. You could feel like you aren't equal to other people because you don't have material possessions that they do. When you do get these material possessions, do they actually make you feel more happy? They don't. You feel like you need the next new possession to be on a level with someone else. Whereas actually, true happiness comes from being able to empathize with other people and to be able to share not only what you have, but also your knowledge and wisdom and kindness to other people. If we don't think of others, we can't be happy ourselves.
Thank you very much for being very open to share your thoughts. And if you want to find more information, you can find our website, buddhistacademy.com.
Thank you.
Would you like to close with 1 minute evaluation or review of your own time being 8 weeks in the center?
Yeah, so I'm really pleased that I've come here. I'm really pleased that I'm still here. What I've learned is that although the teachings and the teacher and the center is fantastic, you're going to get the most out of this course if you put the practice in as well. And combining the practice and the teachings, you're going to find, like I have, that your ability to enjoy life is going to improve greatly.
Thank you. So how do you finish with gratitude posture?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ayubowan. Istuti.